Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of My Beautiful Chaos with Misty Fitch of Fearfully Made Ministries. Can you guys believe we are already in August? By the time you hear this episode, it will be week number 2 in the month of August. Where has the time gone? I don't know about you, but I never know what day of the week it is. I never know what the date is. Everything has run together. My kids keep saying, oh my goodness, this summer is over, and we did nothing. This is the worst summer ever. Now, I can't say it's the worst summer ever, but it hasn't been great. We had 2 who got COVID right before we were supposed to take a vacation. So now we're going to be taking it the week before school starts. School, oh my goodness. Like, where do we even start with talking about what school is doing right now? We are just now going to public school because we've done private school and then I homeschooled, and we're just going to try it. Of course, when we decide we're going to try it, craziness. It is so crazy, but we're still going for it. And it has been so back and forth. We're going to start on time, but it's going to be remote, and then start a month later where you can go in person if you want to, or you can continue being remote. Then it was, we're going to start on time and you can go in person or remote, whichever you prefer. Then the next week they said we're going to move it back a week because the teachers need more planning time. And yes, if you are a teacher listening to this or anyone in education, I am praying for every last one of you. I taught for 15 years and I am so thankful that I'm not teaching right now because you guys have so much on your plate, and no matter what you do, somebody is going to disagree with it. There is no winning in this decision-making process regarding schools. So my heart goes out to all of you. But school's about to start. We're going to have vacation. Life is crazy right now, is it not? I know that during this time, I've been talking to a lot of people who are struggling. I found myself struggling just with thoughts about myself, thoughts about this world, thoughts that are not good. I found that there have been times that I've just felt really low. And I've just had such a bad attitude about who I am. Why? I don't know, because it's not like I'm doing anything. And that's the problem. We're not doing anything. We're just stuck at home. And I've questioned, who am I? Have you done that? I know that I've talked to a lot of people who said they have. They've been questioning their worth. They've been questioning, are they enough? I wish I could remember. There was a post I saw quite some time back before I got off of social media and then back on and then back off. It's been a roller coaster. But somebody had posted about how they need people in their lives to love them because they don't love themselves enough. So let's take that in. The post I read, it was something to this effect. I'll do it in first person. I need people in my life to love me because I don't love myself enough. And by them loving me, it helps me love myself. So let's address that for just a second. That is putting so much pressure on someone else in your life. That to me, I feel like is probably the number one reason for divorce, is because people have this attitude of, I'm getting married because that person makes me happy. What my ears are hearing is, when that person's not making me happy anymore, then the marriage is no longer important. And if you've never been married, I'm going to tell you right now, you are going to be in for a rude awakening if you go into a marriage thinking that that person has to make you happy, because it's not going to happen all the time. You're not going to be happy all the time. Think about your friends and your family. You get mad at them. They don't always make you happy, and that's not their job, and that's not your job to make them happy. Wow, that's not even what I was going to talk about. I'm not trying to talk about marriage today, but that's just what came out. So it got me to thinking. So it got me to thinking about the scripture in Mark where Jesus was asked, what is the most important commandment? And it was that you love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind. But then he goes on, the second is equally as important, which is love your neighbors as yourself. Love others as yourself. In Ephesians, it says something similar. It talks about a marriage. It doesn't say, husbands, your wife is there to make you happy. Wife, your husband is there to make you happy. It doesn't say that. In Ephesians 5 verse 33, it says, each one of you must love his wife as he loves himself. That also means the wife must love her husband as she loves herself. There's a theme here. Love others as you love yourself. But I have a question for you. Do you love yourself? And I'm leaving a little bit of space there because I really want you to think, do you love yourself? Because what I'm finding, especially lately, where everybody is just angry at everything because they're stuck in their house, they're watching the same things over and over being told to them. And it's hard to love others and it's hard to love yourself, right? People have come to me almost on a daily basis about struggling with their worth. They don't feel worthy. They don't love themselves. It was always ingrained in me that in a marriage, see, I'm going back to marriage, but in a marriage, you're supposed to love God first, then love your spouse, then love your kids, then love others. I don't believe that's true. And y'all, it took Todd Chrisley opening my eyes to this. I can't believe I even just said who it was. I love the Chrisleys. I don't know if you know who they are, if you ever listen to them, but Todd Chrisley is hilarious. And he and his wife had been going to marriage counseling or just counseling. I don't think it was marriage counseling. I think it was counseling in general. And they have this Christian counselor who told them something and it just made my jaw drop, and it makes so much sense. He said, we're missing a point. We're missing something very important when we say that the order is to love God, then spouse, then kids, then others. Because truly, you have to love yourself first. So let's love God first. God tells us who we are. Through God, because of God, we are able to love ourselves despite the messes that we are. And you and I know we are all a big mess. That's why this is called My Beautiful Chaos, because it is a chaotic mess, at least for me in my life. But through God, I can love myself despite it. When I see my flaws, I can remind myself that's not who I am. That doesn't determine my worth. That doesn't tell me if I'm worthy of love, because I am worthy of love because God loved me. God loved you. So truly, it should be love God, love yourself so that you can love others as you love yourself. But y'all, the problem is that we're in this place right now where people are not loving themselves. And sometimes even culturally, it's like it's a bad thing if you love yourself because that makes you conceited, right? If you love how you look, then you're told that you are conceited, you're arrogant, you're full of yourself. But that's not true. That means you have confidence in who you are. It hurts my heart to hear when people are so down on themselves and when someone can make them question their worth and who they are. Have you ever been in a relationship, a friendship, a dating relationship, whatever kind of relationship, that somebody says something to bring you down? Because especially when you're in a close relationship, they know. They know what'll bring you down, right? They know what buttons to push. They know what hurts you. And so when they get mad, and they will get mad, sometimes they say something to bring you down, or you have a bad breakup and that guy says all kinds of hurtful things about you to everybody. How many times does that happen to you that you start believing that about yourself? I want to say stop. Please, friend, stop believing things people say about you and remember who God says you are. And if you have trouble remembering, start looking it up. Look it up in scripture. All those negative thoughts that you're having about yourself, flip it around. So if you say, I am not enough, flip it around and say, I am enough. And then go find the scripture that backs it up and put it everywhere where you can read it all the time. Because after a while, you won't have to go and read it. You'll be able to remind yourself of that as soon as that negative thought comes into your head. And then eventually, the negative thought will stop coming to your head. I try to leave you with a challenge almost every time I end these. And so my challenge for you today is to do that. What is the thing that you keep telling yourself almost daily? Remind yourself of truth, because that is a lie. Whatever that negative thought is about yourself, I guarantee you it's a lie from the enemy. When you say, I am not worthy of love because all these people have left me, you need to switch that around. I am worthy of love. I am worthy of love. God sent his only son to die on the cross. And not only that, Jesus chose to go ahead and die on the cross. Jesus chose, seeing you in your worst, darkest moment. Jesus said, she's worth it. He's worth it. I'm going to take on that nasty, dirty, dark moment, and I am going to replace it with my salvation and my righteousness. Jesus said you were worth it. And likely those people who left you alone, you had that relationship, you thought you were going to get married, but all of a sudden the person ghosted you. You're not hearing from them anymore. So now you're thinking, I'm not worthy of love. I'm not good enough. You need to remember you are good enough, and you are so loved that that person was not right for you. God is protecting you. It may hurt for a little bit, but scripture talks about pruning and how we need to prune off those dead branches, the things that are not fruitful. Look at that relationship as a dead branch. It was not going to be a fruitful relationship, and you had to be pruned. And it also says that it is painful. Sometimes pruning is painful. Be thankful that that person is removed from your life now, and you may not have closure, and let that be okay. Once you learn to love yourself, it's easier to not be so affected by things like that, because you know you're worth more. You're worth more than a person who is going to ghost you and not even tell you why they have left you, and you've been in this relationship talking about marriage. You are worth more. My God says so. Start finding scriptures that tell you that you are worth more. Start finding scriptures that tell you who you are so that you can love yourself. Every day, go look in the mirror and tell yourself, this is what I love. Don't just pick physical things, but don't avoid picking physical things. What do you love about your heart and your mind and your soul and your whole everything? Until you love yourself, it's going to be difficult to love others. And it's going to be difficult for others to love you, because without even using words, what we think about ourselves is what we're telling people to think about us. We're showing people how to think about us. We're showing people how to treat us by how we treat ourselves. So I challenge you to go and pick out that just one thing. If you want to pick out more, pick out more. But if there's one thing you catch yourself saying constantly, my challenge is to switch it. Write the sentence that is exactly opposite of that. And then go to Google and start looking scripture that says whatever. Scripture when I don't feel like I'm enough. Scripture when I don't feel like I'm worthy of love. Scripture when I don't feel like there's a reason to love myself. Scripture when I don't feel like I have anything to offer the world. Start writing it down. Some of it may not be relevant for you, but that's okay. Start looking through it. Some people ask, how do I study the Bible? There's a way right there. Start right there. So that's my challenge. And if you do this, I want to hear from you. So whether you follow me on any of my social media platforms, or right here, comment or email me at mybeautifulchaos@email.com. Tell me. I want to know. I want to know, what did you change? How are you changing your way of thinking? Let's love ourselves so that we can do that second commandment, which is to love others as we love ourselves. What do you think? Let's try it. And on that note, I'm going to sign off, and until next time. Thank you for joining My Beautiful Chaos this week. If you have any suggestions for topics or questions you would like answered on an upcoming episode, email me at mybeautifulchaos@email.com. See you next week.